The backups are in Sioux Falls. The Sparrows get a big third quarter out of their defense. And they take care of business against the Maulers tonight. Dallas eliminates Carolina 24-14. Houston eliminates OKC 31-17. Let's take your phone calls. 210-473-8428 here on the SFL Postgame Show. And an updated look first at the Grey Conference race. So Carolina and Cleveland are out. Dallas is a half game behind Baltimore. Baltimore just has to take care of business tomorrow early afternoon against Cleveland. And Baltimore will be the number 2 seed and will host Dallas in the first round of the playoffs. If somehow Cleveland upsets Baltimore, that would give Dallas a shot at the number 2 seed with a win next week and a loss by Baltimore. Dallas plays Cleveland this week. Meanwhile, in the Teal Conference, Houston and OKC switch places. The Renegades in Tallahassee have been eliminated, and we'll get to the rest in a moment. 865, you're on the SFL Postgame Show.
What's up?
Hey, Maurice, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, Carolina's season is in the books, I guess, as far as playoffs are concerned. Still got a game next week against Louisville with a wild attempt to play spoiler. I guess next week you just throw anything against the wall and just see if it works, right?
Yep. Essentially.
Yeah, tonight you got in a 24-0 hole. The offense just couldn't seem to get it going. You held Dallas in check for a long time, but what eventually ended up being the backbreaker in your mind tonight?
I think it really was the fact that we couldn't stop Mike Davis. But I will say this: I'm proud that we held Rocco Marconi in check. I'm hats off to my team for that. Because, that ain't an easy thing to do.
Yeah, a couple of back-to-back sluggish weeks for Rocco Marconi after he had less than 100 yards passing last week in a pretty shocking upset against the DC Dragons. He once again had his fair share of struggles tonight against Carolina. As a player, Maurice, what has this season been like for you, and where do you sort of see your future? Because you're certainly one of a valued member of SFL society. I'll put it that way. So how do you see things playing out this off season?
Well, are you talking about like for me or like for my team as a whole?
Well, I think both.
Okay. Well, for me, I'm gonna finish out my contract. That's just me. I feel like, since they drafted me, I feel like the least I owe them is to finish out my contract, be loyal to them, because they took me 5th overall, and, can't thank them enough for that. But I think as a team, I think we'll if we just make a few changes, we'll be all right. And that's just because, something has to change on the offense, and, we have to shore up the defense a little bit. And that's not anything on the coordinators. That's just, me saying we got to make a few changes.
Yeah, Marconi just 165 yards tonight, 17 for 23. Carolina, for all the clout that they got in the offseason, oh, look at this defense, when you look at the numbers, you have to sort of be a little concerned with at least, Carolina coming into this season heavily relying on its defense, but 10th in the league in run defense, and obviously got worse tonight with the giving up almost 200 yards to Davis. And then the pass defensive efficiency was 14th. I mean, I think would you agree that the defense not playing up to its expectations hurt the offense being able to play up to theirs?
I think I think they both like bounce off each other because you have to remember with our offense not being consistent, we are on the field a
Sure. Good
lot.
point. Good point.
So teams had plenty of opportunities against us, but at the same time, yeah, we need to shore up that efficiency and shore up the run defense, which I know we can do.
Well, with Carolina out of the race, I'd love to get your thoughts on the upcoming playoffs and postseason. Louisville obviously is the clear favorite, I would think, at this point. But do you think they'll win, and do you think they'll win easy?
I think they'll win. Easy, that's a different story, but the, there isn't a team in this league that's been playing like the way Louisville's been playing these past 2 weeks, outside of maybe Houston. Maybe Houston. That's about it. Like,
Um, who do you see as their toughest challenger, whether it be in their own conference or someone from the Teal? Is it Houston?
I honestly think it's going to be Houston that's going to be their toughest challenge because Houston's offense and their offense and their defense are playing like together. Like they're playing like they're bouncing off of they're playing off of each other.
Can you imagine if Houston, they still got some work to do. They got to go to Minneapolis. That ain't no joke. And then they got to hope that if they can't win that game, then they got to hope that Orlando at some point trips up. But wouldn't that be something if Houston and Louisville met in the championship game, considering what those two teams have been through in the past with the crazy touchdown, avoiding the Rick O'Reilly sack? Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Well, Maurice, any other thoughts on tonight's games or anything else across the league that's on your mind?
I mean, I'm not necessarily mad. I mean, I'm disappointed that we didn't make the playoffs, but I'm not mad per se.
All right. Well, we're certainly thankful for that because it's all about fun. And Maurice Spurgeon, thanks for your time and good luck to your brother Michael in NYC tomorrow. They got an elimination game as well, so best of luck to him.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for having me, Cam.
All right. Thanks, Maurice. You too. Bye. All right. Open line now. 210-473-8428. Maurice, always a good guy to talk to. Carolina falters to 3-8, and they eliminate themselves from playoff contention tonight. Back to the intense Teal Conference here. As mentioned, we're going to get to that in a moment. 9:03, you're on the SFL Postgame Show.
Stephen Molinax, Dallas West next.
Stephen, your team loves to put you through the trials and tribulations, and Carolina started to make a comeback there.
Yeah, we pulled our first team defense, and they were able to get a touchdown on us and close the gap, and then we just tried to run the clock out there. And there's just really some poor coaching that took place, some poor decisions there at the end that gave them an opportunity that they really shouldn't have had there at the end. But it's a win, and we'll take it. And we really needed it after coming off a pretty devastating loss to DC. And we really we want to end the season on a positive note going into the playoffs. That's the big deal.
Now, I'm going to ask you about this. Rocco Marconi under 200 yards again, 165, 17 of 23. Just not a lot of deep threat there. Is that, there's a number of reasons why this could be occurring, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Carolina's defense obviously has some talented corners. Mike Davis is been more heavily involved. Is it just a byproduct of getting him more involved and having more of a balanced attack? Or is it just not needing Marconi to do a whole lot or put himself in a position to do a whole lot in this particular matchup? How do you view it?
I think it's a combination of things. Let's not forget how great Carolina is in the secondary. and there's some things that you want to avoid out there. So limiting Marconi is definitely a good thing, especially the way that Mike Davis has been running lately. But it's been a combination of things. We faced some really great defensive coordinators in the last few weeks, and they're starting to game plan for Marconi specifically and our 4 wide receiver set, and they're doing a really good job of that. And so we've had to focus a little bit more on the running game. But you know what? I think it's just Marconi's just stringing together some bad games. I think he's due for a really good one. And I just he's had a history of success in the league. He's had a history of success this season, and I don't expect him to be on a bad streak for long. So I think he's due for a good game, and we've got the Vipers next week, and then we'll go into the playoffs, and hopefully Marconi can have a bigger impact in those games, and we're going to need him if we're going to try and beat Baltimore in the playoffs.
What is what's your confidence level that Cleveland can go into Baltimore tomorrow and keep second place alive for Dallas?
We faced Cleveland early in the season, and it was a near stalemate. They played us really well. So, despite what Cleveland's record is, they are much better than that. And I think that the teams that have played them know that. I think there's a very good chance Cleveland could be in this game. They should be in the game. But regardless of what the outcome is, we're on to next week, and whatever happens. If we've got to go into Baltimore, we will, and we'll bring our best. And we nearly got them the last time, but they are on a really good run right now. So it would be nice to see Cleveland go in and disrupt that, and maybe give them a little hesitancy going into the playoffs. That'd be nice, and knock them off the perch a little bit. We wouldn't mind that at all. But if they don't, we still have a big challenge ahead of us. So we'll focus on next week, and then we'll think about Baltimore.
Let's go south for a moment. You're not in the same division or conference with your fellow Texans, but the Houston Hyenas in the last 3 weeks on defense are giving up roughly about 10 points a game against Orlando. Because I don't honestly remember the sack numbers against Orlando, and if that sort of started against the Intimidators. They had one. I don't see a ton, but 10 points a game. They had 7 sacks last week against Sioux Falls, and then tonight they finished with, drum roll please, 10 sacks. I mean, what is going on in Houston? That's at least 18 sacks in the last 3 games, and who knows? Maybe they're a championship game opponent down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, they have been, to me, the hottest team in the second half of the season, and it was surprising. They were the most shocking team as far as the record through the first half. People just didn't think that Houston would do that, but they've proven, through the second half of the season, they are the hottest team in the league. And I said a couple of weeks ago, nobody wants to face these guys. I mean, these guys are just hot right now. As far as the sacks concerned, hey, we got Boo Goo got 4 sacks for us against DC, but we still didn't come out with the win. So, and even DeMond said that some of those sacks there were coverage sacks. So, got to give their secondary and their linebackers a lot of credit too for that. But no, Houston is no joke, and you should not take them lightly because they are the upper echelon of some of the best teams. They're the most, one of the most well-coached, well-represented teams. DeMond and Greg, they take a lot of pride in what they do, and have been very successful here as of late. So, yeah, don't sleep on Houston. They are definitely the hottest team right now.
And they may not even get in, which is the crazy thing. If they were in the Gray Conference, if they were in your conference, it'd be a shoo-in. It'd already be over. And that's the crazy thing about it. They would already have clinched that 4th and final spot in the Gray Conference, but in the Teal, they could finish 6-6 and still not make it. Well, actually, if they
You know,
finish 6-6, they would. But I mean, you know what I mean.
The old Bill Parcells quote is, "You are what your record says you are." I don't think that applies to Houston. Houston, should absolutely get in the playoffs the way they've been playing. They just had a slow start. If they don't make the playoffs, then look out next season, man. They might roll everybody.
Now, you're going to be with us on the call in exactly 2 weeks for the first couple of playoff games. What is your, in your opinion, what is your top storyline heading into the 7th season of playoffs that you see around the league?
It's got to be Louisville. Their dominance once again, this being their last season in the league, at least for now. Can anyone topple the King? That's the main storyline there, and their historic failures in the playoffs. That they haven't been able to get a championship yet. That's going to be the big one. We have plenty. There are plenty of great storylines going into the playoffs, and I'm excited to explore each one with you and get a chance to sit down and have a lot of fun. I hope we bring a lot of fun and a lot of excitement to the call for the viewers and do the best that we possibly can for these great SFL guys that are out here watching the game. I want to do a great job for you guys. So I'm looking forward to it.
Steven, thanks so much.
Thank you, Cam. We'll talk to you later.
All righty. We'll take one last caller if we've got one. 210-473-8428. You look at that muddled up Teal Conference. The Los Angeles-Orlando game probably means more than this game did tonight, if that's even possible. Houston, if they lose to Minneapolis, obviously the Maulers get in the playoffs. And they need LA to beat Orlando to even have a shot at that point. Now, if Orlando wins over Los Angeles, Houston is not necessarily done. All they got to do is win against Minneapolis, and they will leapfrog in the standings, and they will nab that final spot. And depending upon what happens, could be the number 3 or number 4 seeds. Sioux Falls and Santa Fe play for number 1 and number 2 next week. Santa Fe still has a game against Tallahassee. That's tomorrow. Again, keep in mind that there are 5 games tomorrow. 3 go directly to YouTube. I would expect 2 go directly to YouTube. Cleveland, Baltimore, Tallahassee, Santa Fe. I would expect those to go up by about noontime tomorrow. So if you're interested in those games, or it impacts your playoff race, then you would be able to get in there. 214, you're on the SFL Postgame Show.
Hey, what's going on? It's T. Cabell.
Hey, Mr. Cabell, how are you? Tough loss tonight, but the Maulers are still in it, most certainly.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. Not our best game tonight, so we're really going to have our work ahead of us next week to try to hopefully see if we can get in these playoffs.
T, you've had a good rookie season, man. You've got I'm looking at your updated stats here. 13 sacks, not too bad. If Farnsworth Bentley and the Houston Hyenas weren't going crazy on sacks all of a sudden, you'd probably be number 1 in the league right now. But what does that mean to you to have basically had a very successful rookie season here in your short time with the SFL so far?
Well, it means a lot to me with all the guys who have been successful in this league. To be one of the top defensive rookies in this league, it feels pretty good. Put in a lot of hard work. So. I just try to keep my head down and, just try to make the playoffs here. That's the statistics really don't, I don't really care about the stats right now. We just want to make that playoff push.
Now, as you may or may not know, I'm sure you know, although the swirling headlines of the SFL sometimes it's hard to keep track. You're going to be a free agent, and you're gonna have 13 sacks and 16 tackles for loss to your name, and obviously, first and foremost, you want to try to win a title with Minneapolis. But any thoughts towards the future for number 96?
I haven't really put too much thought beyond the season. Like I say, really just trying to focus on finishing strong with Minneapolis. Maybe after the season, we'll discuss what'll happen in the off season. But right now I haven't really given it too much thought.
Wow, an SFL player that actually isn't trying to make a mad scramble way ahead of time. That's impressive. Your self-control is impeccable. Can I please get your autograph?
I got you.
T, this is your first time calling in, isn't it?
This is.
All right. Well, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you found out about the league? I always like to do that with first-time callers.
Found out about the league just browsing YouTube. I'm a high school teacher. I teach art. I also coach high school football. So, in my spare time, I have two boys that also play football. And just browsing in YouTube surfing, if you will. And ran across the SFL, and I've been hooked ever since.
Are you a good artist, or are you just a good teacher?
Well, I like to think both.
Well, there you go. That's good. I am not an artist. I mean, if you put a mouse in my hand, maybe I can get something done. But you give me a pencil and a piece of paper, I ain't gonna draw too much for you.
Hey, well, there's all different types of art, so there's room for everybody.
You got Houston next week. This game, when it was put on the schedule in week 12, obviously we had an inkling it would be a big showdown in the Teal Conference. I don't think we anticipated it being the type of showdown that it is going to be. Considering that the first tiebreaker is head-to-head, this is a winner-take-all type of game for you. Now that Houston has won, if Houston beats Minneapolis, you're out unless Orlando loses out. So this game means everything. What do you think about the matchup and what you've seen out of Houston over the last couple of weeks?
Like you said, I mean they've been absolutely on fire. But this is what these type of situations are what football players love. We love to be put in this winner take all type. At least I know I do. Winner take all type situation. I feel like it's win or go home, and so we're gonna have to put together our best game plan against what is sure to be a good game plan from Houston, and we just have to line it up and see who can see whose will is gonna be greater.
Sioux Falls and Houston are now arguing for your future services. See what happens when you call on the postgame show? You get
free.
What'd you say, T?
Oh, I just said I see.
Yeah. I'm sure you're going to be getting plenty of PMs. Just fight it, T. Just fight it. Otherwise, your ego all swims up, and pretty soon you're going to be painting yourself in a Mahler uniform in your next art project. But hey, I appreciate you taking the time to call. Tough loss tonight, but you're having a great rookie season, and it was good to meet you. And good luck to the Maulers in trying to send Thomas Paternitti out on a high note in his final year as an owner and a coach in the league. Thanks so much for your time.
I appreciate y'all having me.
All righty, that concludes the SFL post-game show tonight. Again, once more, the final scores: Houston beats OKC 31-17 and eliminates the Renegades. Dallas beats Carolina 24-14 and eliminates the Skyhawks. And Sioux Falls crushes Minneapolis 45-21 with 14 straight there to start the third quarter to open that up and improve to 9-2. This has been a presentation of the SFL. I'm Kevin Irvine. Good night, everybody.